We're joined now by former Jacksonville Jaguar and, like I said, one of the top 40 under 40 tastemakers named by wine enthusiasts, Will Blackmon. What do you pair Trevor Lawrence's first NFL start with if you're watching the game at home?
What do you pair his start with?
Yeah.
Listen, as long as Urban's not in the cabinets messing with the wine, then you know what? Then I would pair him with some Taco Luz, which is a famous taco spot in Jacksonville. They actually listen. They have a cheeseburger taco, legit.
So Trevor Lawrence gets his first NFL start. You're a Jacksonville Jaguars fan. You're sitting on the couch. Let me get this cheeseburger taco to watch the quarterback of the future. How about for the first game here out at SoFi? The Rams play just about a 9-iron away from the Rich Eisen Show studios, week 1 against the Bears. You think it's a big body Barolo kind of game?
Big body Barolo kind of game. Here, you know what? I don't know. I'm curious. It's still going to be warm, so you don't want anything big body. You want something cool, like maybe a Chablis from France. It's crisp, acidic, it's fun. That's SoFi. Or maybe actually, you know what? Being that it's SoFi, you got to get something from Stan Kroenke. You got to get Honada. You got to get his wine. So we got to keep it in the family.
The NFL doesn't get as much conversation around wine as the NBA does. We've been talking at length on this show about Chosen Family from Channing Frye and Kevin Love. We've been talking about how C.J. McCollum turned his room at the NBA bubble into a wine cellar, making sure that his 80 bottles of Pinot Noir were chilled exactly right. Who are the big wine guys around the NFL on a real level? Because you were, like I said, one of the top 40 under 40 tastemakers from Wine Enthusiasts.
Well, think about it, though. Like, these guys are always on the road, right? And there's only, 12, 15 guys on the roster. You can have a dinner every time you're on the road with 12 or 15 people. So, I mean, and that's what they're doing. They're hanging out, where we can't have dinner with 43 guys at a restaurant every time we go out. That wouldn't be as fun. And I feel like, too, being that it's LeBron that's leading the charge, the best player, in the NBA, then obviously that's going to get a lot of attention. But in terms of the NFL, I mean, first of all, I like to give a lot of credit to guys like Charles Woodson and Drew Bledsoe, because they're making wine. Like, Charles had his own wine since 2005. Drew Bledsoe actually lived on the vineyard in Washington, and they're making wine. So I think I give the slight edge to NFL in terms of making wine, but in terms of consumption, it's definitely the NBA guys. Like, I don't think we're even close. But I know, like, a couple of my clients is like Matt Ryan, right? He was my teammate at BC, and I helped him curate his wine cellar, and he has a huge collection. I know Matt Stafford has a huge collection. Sidney Rice, he has a huge collection. So there's a couple of guys out there, but NBA by far, it's not even close.
Will Blackmon joins the show, Super Bowl champion and sommelier. We had Quentin Richardson on the other day, Will, who suggested that T.J. Jefferson build a wine cellar to preserve his Air Jordans, because he noticed that the soles were falling off his Air Jordans. Preserving wine. A lot of rumors out there thinking that the older, the better. But for the everyday drinker out there, what are a few things they need to be aware of to preserve their wines at home? Say if they want to pair it with Tampa Bay, New England, when Tom Brady returns to Gillette Stadium.
Listen, you're going to need a beer for that game. There's no wine for this. You need beer and whiskey for this one. But the biggest thing is you want to keep it out of sunlight. You don't want sunlight to mess with the temperature. Also, you want to keep it away from a lot of, vibration, because that can interrupt the wine as well, too. And you do want to store it on its side, because the important thing is you want the wine to be in contact with the cork, so that it actually stays the exact size. When it becomes the cork becomes hard, air can get into the wine and actually expedite the aging. Also can make the wine fall. So you definitely want to store it properly like that. So, yeah, but for that Patriot Buccaneers game, it is spirit, it is hard liquor, and it's beer. No wine will be consumed that day.
I thought because of Tom Brady, you'd just be sitting on the couch chugging kombucha. Will Blackmon joins the show. Ben Lyons in for Rich.
And rice. On
the Rich Eisen Show. These London games here on the West Coast, they start early. What's a good breakfast wine?
You know what? When in doubt, it's champagne for me. I know people want to say mimosas, but it's champagne, because champagne goes with anything. Or you can just call it sparkling wine. Cava, Cremant, whatever it is. Sparkling wine is the way to go in the morning.
Brockman, can you imagine sitting on the couch on a Sunday morning with Jacksonville ready to kick off from across the pond, and you open a bottle of champagne to start a three-game parlay for the Sunday? It's happening.
Yeah,
It's
no,
coming.
absolutely. It's happened last year. It's going to happen this year. Like, get ready.
Champagne watching the Jags in London.
I've gone out there with Jacksonville, and we had to play in the crack of dawn. It was. I'll tell you what, though. One thing about playing in London, so I was fortunate to play in Super Bowl with the Giants. That was damn near the closest experience to a Super Bowl was playing at Wembley. It was absolutely madness. I mean, I think I saw a Bubby Brister jersey in the stands. They had all kinds of jerseys out there, so it was super cool. It was exciting.
Will Blackmon joining the show, former NFL defensive back, Super Bowl champion, and sommelier. Top 40, under 41 enthusiasts, tastemakers. I got to give some props to Patrick Mahomes. He's bringing Whataburger to Kansas City and Missouri. As you now enter this next phase in your career, do you pay attention to some of the investments guys are making, especially in the food and beverage space?
I do pay attention because it's funny. We have all these meetings with like NFL guys or finance guys that come in, and, you know, you're kind of like, you don't really think ahead in terms of your future and what you should be doing. And I really love the fact and respect that the guys are making these moves now. I mean, you're seeing more and more, especially with the whole, you know, more than an athlete, you see all the things that LeBron has done. More athletes are starting to be smarter with their money and making wiser decisions for obviously future investment. So I think it's cool. I think it's impressive. And I love the fact that guys are starting young and learning now, because once you get to part two, it's different. You know, you want to be able to learn how to have your money make money. You know, it's because once you learn to do that, because it's way harder to keep trying to make money. So learn how to have your money make money, if that makes sense.
Will, you tweeted out 4 words that got Brockman fired up. Mac 10 live tonight.
Let's go, Will. Mac 10 is in the building.
Let's go. Listen, it's funny, I became good friends with Dub C, the other member of West Side Connection, and his son actually is a really good high school running back. And so it just reminded me of that. That's why I had to throw it out there. But yes, Mac 10, he's switching his number today from 50 to 10. I would have actually liked to see him in 50. That would have been cool.
What do you expect from him on the field?
Gross and cool.
What do you expect from him on the field? And would you suggest maybe like a crisp Chardonnay for tonight's game?
I don't know. I saw that combine body. There's no wine in that body. There's cigars and Bud Light in that body. I don't know about that.
Will Blackmon joining.
It's so funny with these wine pairings. No wine. Here's the thing. When I went to Green Bay, yes, that's where I really started to take interest in wine. And it was huge because Charles Woodson was also on the team, and he was obviously a huge wine guy, and that made me more comfortable to drink wine. But Green Bay is a beer town, and I love me a cold beer. So when it comes to football and wine is great, but sometimes, man, you just got to crack open a Milwaukee's Beast. Not a best. Beast.
The Beast.
Enjoy it.
The Beast. Yeah, we've been reminiscing here as we've been catching up on some of the old beverages of choice that we had over the years. Some have horrified us from our past. Others have brought back many a fond memory of many a night forgotten. Will Blackmon joining the show. Ben Lyons in for Rich on the Rich Eisen Show. Getting into the football of it all, are you one of those guys who this time of year you're driving around looking for Friday night football games to just cry like Ross Tucker and watch the Star Spangled Banner? Or are you just away from the game, want nothing to do with it?
No, you know what? I was just going to say I'm not that creep that just watches any football. But then again, my wife's listening. She's probably nodding her head like, yes, you are that creep that just watches football. No, I don't. Here's the thing. People always ask me this question. They go, hey, like, do you miss it? And I hate when guys be like, no, I don't miss it. You know, maybe the camaraderie. Hell yeah, I miss it. I miss it like crazy. Think about it, Ben. Playing football in the NFL was the only thing I ever wanted to do. That was it. I had nothing else. I just wanted to play football. I've been blessed to play 12 years. And, you know, I'm very happy with part two. You know, obviously the main thing, I get to be home with my wife and kids way more. That's my most important investment. But I'll always miss playing because that's what I wanted to do. So yes, I'll watch any kind of football. I'm actually headed to Houston because I'm going to be an analyst for those flag football games. So I'm calling games for flag football. I will watch any football. I'm actually tonight I'm trying to take our son to go watch his friend who's 10 years old play football, have football practice. So yes, I am the psychopath that watches any football. I'll see a kid throwing a football. He'll throw a duck, and I'll pull over and be like, hey, listen, kid, this is how you throw a spiral.
Awesome.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Yeah, the passion.
Just throw me a Coca-Cola.
The passion for the game you can't take away from you guys. Will Blackmon joining the show. Ben Lyons in for Rich, the Rich Eisen Show.
But wouldn't that be messed up? Like if you're a pro football player, okay, you play golf, and if you see a guy, you're with somebody, and he's just like slicing him, wouldn't you like tell him to adjust his grip a little bit, right?
Yeah, that was 4 hours of my life yesterday playing with Chris Brockman.
There you go. So if I'm driving, if I'm in a park and I see a kid just throwing ducks, and me being a pro football player, like I would be a disservice to not go help that kid out a little bit.
It'd be a disservice. You have no choice but to pull over the car and start coaching up some random kid on the side of the road. You have no choice.
Man, no choice.
Now, we saw Jerry Jones put a lot of salt on his McGriddle. I don't know. What do you pair with a McGriddle?
Wait,
what kind of wine goes
McGriddle?
with a McGriddle?
He put salt on a McGriddle?
A lot of salt.
Yeah, you didn't see that on Hard Knocks,
Really?
Will? Yeah.
No, I didn't. I did not see that on Hard Knocks. Wow. Well, if he puts a lot of salt on it, you need something that's going to combat that salt, something that's, actually, the great thing, salt goes with any kind of wine, really. It won't make anything astringent, less or more. So, I don't know. I don't really eat McGriddles.
Yeah, it was kind of a weird.
Did it have syrup on it?
No, it was kind of a weird moment. Like I said, anytime you're turning to a pancake for a support, you've already lost. It's supporting the rest of the sandwich, so we're already in a bad situation. But TJ Jefferson got really fired up because that's the owner of his favorite football team, and he's putting salt. Now CJ's just throwing. So he's like Salt Bay over there. They're just throwing salt on everything.
Would you let Salt Bay feed him?
Did you ever have Hard Knocks on one of your teams? Did you ever have? Were you ever in a Hard Knocks over the years?
No, I was not in Hard Knocks at all. I wasn't even like playing against a team on Hard Knocks.
Yeah, and now there's some self-awareness. The guys know they're being filmed, so you can tell which guys are kind of performing and putting it on. Of all your teammates, though, who would have loved to have been on Hard Knocks, you think?
Probably, oddly enough, I don't know if he's still there. Al Harris, though, he was probably one of my funniest teammates of all time. He was hilarious. I think Josh Norman would have loved to be on Hard Knocks when I was in Washington because he was a massive ham. I love him. He was so annoying. He had look. I remember in meetings he loved Lifesaver gummies, but for some reason he would not. I think he discarded all the red ones. So when I would go to the bathroom and come back, I would look on my iPad and see a bunch of red Lifesaver gummies, and I thought he was the strangest man in the world.
I love you said, I love him. He's so annoying. That tells me that you guys are really close. I love that. That's great.
Yes.
Appreciate you spending some time, Will. Enjoy the season and enjoy a nice Cabernet from Paso Robles called Alexandar. That's from Sasha Vujicic. I think you'll find it quite delightful.
You like Sasha's? Yes. Paso is popping right now. Obviously, Dow is holding it down, and Booker Wines is really good. Booker Vineyards, up there, and obviously everyone was like Austin Hope. That's like the new Naomi or something like that.
I'm sure you're already on the list, but you got to get on Carmelo's wine newsletter. It's called What's in Your Glass. Every Monday, great selections on Pinots from the Willamette Valley. Carmelo doing great stuff in the wine game.
Carmelo is legit. There is no question about it. So I'm scared to hang out with Carmelo when we do.
Yeah, some of those bottles he's popped with Jimmy over in France, that might be like half your NFL career earnings. Appreciate you.
But that's the problem. They're scaring everybody away with those expensive-ass wines.
Feel you, man. You can't be scared away from these expensive wines. You got to get in there with a price point that's sensible, which is why I think you'll enjoy the newsletter, What's in Your Glass, every Monday from Carmelo Anthony. Thanks so much, Will.
Appreciate you guys.
Will Blackmon joining the show.
Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.